What's up, everyone? All right, so today we're going to do another episode of Driving with Ross. I was going to be driving a 1973 Corvette Stingray, but it broke down on the way over, so I'm going to have to settle for the 1970 Pontiac GTO. I've got the keys, we're going to jump in. We're going to take it for a little spin, have some fun, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the pain of having a $30,000 red day and what I learned from it as a trader. Whether you've had a red day where you lost $500, $1,000, with a loss comes a lesson, and I'm going to share the lesson with you of my $30,000 loss. All right, 1970, 48 years old. Let's see what you can do. Now, before we get out and start talking about what it's like to lose $30,000, let's listen to this kitten purr. Ooh. Oh, okay. A little slow to get started, just like my trading career. But then she comes to life. Wow. Okay. Let's get her in drive. There it is. Well, we don't have to wait to get out on the main roads to have some fun, do we? Wow. Wow. She's got some power. I'm gonna be honest. All right, well, we lost a couple things down here. It's dusty, so dusty. Whew. Okay, let's get on the road. All right, I think we've proven that this car has a lot of power. All right, guys, so you guys know that I like cars. And when I came out here to Las Vegas, I thought to myself, you know, it's been a pretty good year. I'm up almost $500,000 this year as of right now. Why not rent a couple of nice cars? And that doesn't mean rent a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, because, you know, that's not really my style. Instead, I thought I'd take this for a spin. 1970. The other car that I was looking at was a 1973 Corvette, and over the weekend I drove a 1970 Buick Electra and a 1970 Cadillac DeVille. So I think you're getting a little sense of my style. I didn't learn how to day trade because I wanted to make $1 million. I didn't learn how to day trade because I wanted to drive a Ferrari or drive a Lamborghini or fly in a private jet. For me, learning how to trade was, there was one motivation. It was because I didn't want to have a regular 9-to-5 job. When I was in my early 20s, I was dealing with so much anxiety and just stress and so much heavy stuff going on in my life. I just didn't feel like I could handle a 9-to-5 job. And so I stumbled upon day trading. But early on in my career, I learned pretty quickly that it's easier said than done. No doubt about it. I know that I make it look easy right now. For those of you guys that are, watch my midday recaps and everything else, I've had days where I've made now $30,000, $40,000 in a single morning in one day. But my first 2 years of learning how to trade, I mean, it was a daily struggle just to make even $50. And so the worst day that I've ever had as a trader, I lost over $30,000. Let's get this up to speed. Let's do it. Let's just. That does sound nice. I have to be honest, it sounds amazing. It's glorious. So the day I lost $30,000, one of the things that I always tell our students is that a loss is an opportunity for a lesson. And it's your choice whether you're going to, learn a lesson or you're just going to take the loss and then do it again and again and again. A lot of traders, they make the same mistakes again and again. They keep repeating their mistakes. They lose more and more money. And they don't get to the point where, they have where the tide changes, where they actually figure it out. They just keep struggling until eventually they give up. Now, for me, I got to a point where go around. I'd go faster, but the exhaust is so loud, I don't think you guys will be able to hear me. So, anyways, my first 2 years trading, total struggle. I really, it was just losing money constantly. And then I had a point where I started to get a little bit more consistent. But then I had the day where I lost $30,000, and it was probably one of, the top 10 most devastating days that I've ever had. In the couple of months leading up to that big loss, I was on I thought I was on a little bit of a hot streak. I think honestly, I was just having a little bit of beginner's luck. I was breaking rules. I was trading Apple and all these different stocks that I currently don't trade because I don't consistently make money on them. And, I had found a little bit of luck trading breaking news. So, the thing with breaking news is that when you're listening to some of these news feeds or watching the RSS news feed, you'll sometimes see a headline. So if you see a headline like Warren Buffett has just acquired a 50% stake in a company, you're obviously going to be like, wow, that's really good news. I gotta jump on this thing. I gotta buy it. And usually that type of headline, the stock will shoot up. So I kind of got used to seeing headlines like that on a fairly regular basis, whether it was Carl Icahn or Bill Ackman, and there were other, different catalysts like that, Citron hit pieces. I don't remember those as much in those days, but there were a lot of news opportunities. And so I had a day where I was down about $5,000. I'd already had a really bad morning. I'd had several losses in a row, was not doing well, and off the news headline, off the news, wire, I saw this stock spike up, and it went up really, really fast. It squeezed up to, it was like $150 a share. I mean, the thing shot up like $25 a share. It just went straight up. I'm gonna pull over for a second. So this stock squeezes up, and I jump into it. I bought the highs. I jumped into it with 1,000 shares. So I put $150,000 on the line, jumped in with a big position, and guess what happened? It dropped $10 per share. I was down $10,000 like that. It was instant. And I was just like a deer in the headlights. I didn't know. I was just in shock at how fast I just lost $10,000. And so I made a rookie mistake that a lot of traders will make. And I added another 1,000 shares. So now I had 2,000 shares. And it dropped another 5 points, 6 points, 7 points. And with, I guess it was 2,000 shares. I might have only had 1,000. I might have started with 500 and then doubled to 1,000. I think I had 1,000 shares, and I lost $25 per share. $25,000 loss, just like that. It was less than 10 minutes. And I was just sitting in front of my computer like, wow. What just happened? I think on the day that I took that trade, I had just under $50,000 in my account. So, I just blew out half my account. And I was talking with Roberto just the other day. We were doing an episode of Driving with Ross in the 1970 Cadillac DeVille. And I asked him if he could remember a well-defined turning point in his career as a trader. What was the point where things finally changed, where you went from being a losing trader to a profitable trader. And he told me that it was that his turning point was the day he realized that he needed to filter out the noise. And I thought that was a very interesting thing that he said, because my turning point was very, very similar. Now, my turning point it didn't happen on that day, but that was sort of the beginning. It was the beginning of me making the shift. On that day, I made a commitment that I would never trade breaking news again. So, when suddenly news breaks and the stock squeezes up 10, 15 points, that's going to go without me, because I got burned on that type of setup. I learned the hard way that trading breaking news like that, it can potentially end your career. I mean, it can literally end your career. So, on that day, I filtered out the noise. I unsubscribed from the RSS news feeds. I stopped following, those breaking news data subscriptions, and was able to save a little bit of money in the subscription costs. And I just said, you know what? I'm filtering out the noise. Now, I never used the words "I'm filtering out the noise." The words that I used were that and I guess I don't say it in just one word, but what I said was that I realized later, I think it was later that year, in August, I don't remember exactly when this was, the timeline, but in August, I had another bad month. I started the month with a $5,000 red day, and I was just like, God dang it, not again! So I had another really big red day at the beginning of the month. Now, $5,000 at that point was my max loss. So it was within, it wasn't a $25,000, $30,000 red day, but it was a big red day. And on that day, just being so frustrated with how I'd been trading over the last, couple of years, I decided to pour over all of my trading data. I sorted all of my trades by biggest winner to biggest loser. Of course, biggest losers were breaking news, impulsive trades, horrible stuff. But when I looked at the biggest winners, I realized that they all shared something in common. And I talk about this a lot during our classes and during some of the workshops I teach. The biggest winners were all on stocks that were up at least 20% on the day at the time that I took the trade. Some of them ended up closing red, but at the time they were up at least 20%. And so I committed at that point to filter out even more of the noise, down to just trading the stocks that were up more than 20%. And that finally was my turning point. But, just like starting this old car, it didn't come on the first try. It took a few stabs over the course of 2 years before I finally turned the corner. So in that $30,000 loss, there was a lesson, and it was not to deviate. It was to stay focused on what you're good at. Know what you're good at, first of all, and then don't let go of it. Now, it takes traders some time to really understand what they're good at. No doubt about it. It's not going to come at once. And, at Warrior Trading, we have a number of different instructors because we understand that it's not like there's one strategy that fits all in this market. There's a number of different strategies that you could possibly trade, whether it's my strategy or Mike's strategy or Roberto's or whatever. I'm sure over the years we'll have even more traders that are coming and bringing their strategy to the table. But once you find one that feels like a good fit for you, you want to just focus on it 100%. I made this really awful analogy, but I'm going to share it with you. It's like making a stew. You don't throw everything into the stew pot because it tastes horrible if you do that. You want to select your ingredients to make a perfect stew. So maybe you get a little bit of chicken, you get some black beans, maybe you get some celery, some carrots, maybe you saute some onions and a little bit of garlic. But you don't go and add eggplant and broccoli and lima beans and green beans and potatoes and bananas and oranges. You don't throw everything in. Independently, these are all very good, but when you try to mix them all together, it doesn't work. So you've got to find that one strategy. Every single one of you guys watching this video, like I said during driving with Ross and Roberto, you're one strategy away from being a successful trader. I know it sounds simple to say it like that, but it's the absolute truth. You are one strategy away. You have to find the one that's a good fit for you. Another analogy that I've talked about in the past, many of you guys know I was married in my early 20s before I started learning how to day trade. And that marriage ended in divorce. Well, that's true with about 50% of all marriages in this country. So, ended in divorce, and after that divorce, when I decided to get back out on the market, I signed up for eHarmony, and I made my profile, answered all the questions, and I did it because I genuinely didn't think I could trust myself due to my horrible, horrible track record. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. This is ridiculous. I can't trust myself. I'm going to give this thing a chance. So I did the survey, and the algorithm did its magic and matched me with who's now my Lauren, who's now my wife today. And we've been together for 4.5 years now, and it's been awesome. And so we kind of took that same approach, and at the end of the Warrior Starter class, I have all of our students take a personality test. And based on the results of your personality test, I'm going to pair you with a strategy that I think is the best fit based on the questions that the answers that you gave to the questions. Now, it doesn't mean you can't learn one of the other strategies, but I want to try to help find that perfect fit for you, so you don't have to go through, months or even years of trial and error trying to find your path. I want to help you find it. Because once you get it, it's just like, from that point forward, every day is the first day of summer. You're living your dream. For me, I haven't had a real job in 10 years. A real job. I haven't had a boss in 10 years. And would I go back? Never. And was it worth the 2 years of trial and error and all the losses? Absolutely. I mean, look at this. I'm out in the desert. Life is good. Life can be so good when you find your passion. Now, for me, trading it has become my passion. It was something that I got hooked on pretty fast. I was just so into it. We have other students where trading is more of a hobby. It's something they love doing. It makes them money, but it allows them to actually pursue their true passion, whether that's art or music or traveling or doing nonprofit work, whatever the case may be. Maybe even spending more time with their children. So for me, trading is my passion. But the reality is, when you find something you love, when you find your passion, it's no longer work. I had a day not that long ago where I worked for 18 hours. It was an 18-hour day, and I went to bed and was excited to get up the next morning. It doesn't feel like work when you love what you do. What's that saying? You won't work a day in your life if you love what you do. It is absolutely true. I mean, absolutely true. So, I just thought I'd take you guys for a little cruise and share that lesson with you. Hopefully, I guess so many waves in this car. Hopefully you guys really take it to heart, and let's just hear this kitten purr one more time. you guys that would rather be driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris and, you know, acting like you're making $1 million a day. That's, you know, for me, it's just not what I'm about. It's not why I wanted to trade. It's so hard because in this day trading industry, there's so many preconceptions that when you're a day trader, it means you're automatically the type of person that wants to wear gold watches and wants to act like they're better than other people. And I don't know. I like to give people the freedom to be however they are, and it's not my position to say how you should live your life. If you want to live your life like that, that's fine. But I can't relate to it. You know, that's growing up in Vermont. Yeah, is it nice to have nice things? Sure. Is it nice to drive this car around for a day? Sure. You know, is it worth the $400 to rent it? Absolutely. Would I buy it? I don't know how much it costs. You know, I mean, maybe I would. And, you know, I have an appreciation for classic cars. Some people have an appreciation for exotic cars. But I feel like those exotic cars, like a Ferrari, you know, 488, 458, those things are, I mean, they're basically mass-produced. I mean, mass-produced in the sense that they're not collectible. They depreciate like crazy. They're not a good investment. A car like this is actually an investment. You know, those new cars, a brand new Porsche 911, it's not an investment. You know, that's my problem with them. They're kind of a dime a dozen, especially if you're ever down at, like, you know, Miami Beach, or you go to Malibu. You go to a grocery store in Malibu, and it's like Ferrari, Bugatti. It's like ridiculous. But I don't know. That's just all my opinion. You guys, what would you rather drive? Pontiac GTO, Shelby Mustang, 1970 Cadillac DeVille, or brand new Lamborghini? I don't know. I've driven a Huracan. It's a fun car. I'm not gonna say it's not, but yeah, I don't know. It's not my style. All right, guys. I smell like gasoline. It's not driving if you don't smell like gasoline and you're not bouncing around. This is driving. The only thing that would make this better is a manual transmission. And that's what the Corvette Stingray had, but that's all right. We'll get it next time. All right, everyone. You enjoyed this video? You want to see more videos like this? Subscribe to the channel. You think I should rent another car? Let me know what I should rent. I'll go rent one. We'll do another episode driving with Ross. All right. See you guys real soon. Bye, everyone. Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. Well, I was just working on the dream board for my next home run trade. Hopefully it comes soon. Until then, make sure you subscribe to get email alerts anytime I go live or upload new videos. Until then, happy surfing